I am not here to give update. Every update we have is in the public. And I believe that if you are here watching this program, you may have been following the Biafra Liberation live and direct. My fellow Biafrans, as we approach the declaration which is to take place during our convention in Finland on the 2nd of December 2024, there are things that we must do. As we continue to protect our land, as the Biafra Defense Force increase the defense of our land, the defense of our women and our children, it is the most important thing for this government to protect the right, the properties, and of course, the life of our children in Biafra land.
Simon Ekpa, while addressing Biafrans in his latest live broadcast, challenged Tinubu government and told them that Biafra is coming and they are ready to take over their territory by force. Simon Ekpa, a prominent figure advocating for the independence of Biafra, speaks about the final stages of what he describes as the Biafran liberation, with particular focus on an upcoming declaration scheduled for December 2nd, 2024 in Finland. Simon Ekpa stresses that the goal of the Biafran Defense Force is to secure Biafra land, emphasizing an unwavering stance against what he calls the terrorist state of Nigeria. Simon Ekpa calls on supporters in the diaspora, specifically those in Germany and beyond, to provide financial and material support for the Biafran cause, highlighting the importance of resources in sustaining the movement. He mentions a vision of reclaiming and controlling territories from the southeastern part of Nigeria to the Bakassi Peninsula and the Gulf of Guinea. Throughout the speech, he emphasizes strength, resilience, and the goal of ensuring that future generations of Biafrans do not inherit this struggle. Let me tell you a story, but this isn't just any story. It is a story of hope, a story of resilience, and a story of a people yearning for freedom. Simon Ekpa took to the airwaves on his social media page and voiced out his mind. His voice was steady but charged, carrying the weight of a message he believed his people need to hear. This message was not just for Biafrans at home, but also for those scattered around the world. He called on the Biafran people to remember their identity, their struggle, and their dream of independence. Simon Ekpa started with a greeting, a familiar touch to his audience as he welcomed people who might be tuning in for the first time. He called himself Dobby, a nickname, a personal touch, to let them know he's one of them. This was a serious talk, though not just an update. He was there to remind everyone of what they were fighting for as the date of Biafra's Declaration of Independence approached, a historic event scheduled for December 2nd, 2024 in Finland. This was more than a rally. It was a declaration that Biafrans deserves their own homeland. To understand Simon Ekpa's message, you must first understand the history. Biafra's story stretches back to 1967, when Nigeria was embroiled in a civil war. Biafrans tried once before to declare independence, but it led to a devastating war. Hundreds of thousands of Biafrans lost their lives, and since then, the memory of that struggle has never left the people of Biafra. Many feel that over the decades, the Nigerian government has not treated them fairly. They feel marginalized, their resources taken, their culture under threat. Simon Ekpa spoke to this wound, describing them as acts of ethnic cleansing and demographic change, ways the Nigerian state had tried to erase Biafran identity. For Simon Ekpa and many others, it is more than just politics, it is personal. The fight to reclaim Biafra is about honoring the people who lost their lives in that first struggle, those who dream of a land where Biafrans could live freely and protect their culture. In his speech, Simon Ekpa reminded his audience that Biafra is not just a dream, it is a vision of a place where families feel safe, where children can grow up proud of their heritage. But for this vision to come to life, Biafrans must be prepared. Simon Ekpa said that the Biafran Defense Force, an organized group of Biafrans prepared to defend their people, is essential. Without protection, Biafra's dream could easily be crushed again. In Simon Ekpa's view, the defense force wasn't an attack force, but a shield. It was about protecting Biafran women, children, and families from what he called the terrorist state of Nigeria. Biafrans would not back down. They wouldn't let Nigeria or anyone else take away their land or their dreams. One of the strongest moments in Simon Ekpa's message came when he said, "I am not afraid of the unknown." To him, this statement meant facing any challenge that might come, whether that be in the form of government pressure, personal attacks, or the obstacles of achieving international recognition for Biafra. In his eyes, courage was a key value every Biafran should hold, and fear could not be allowed to weaken the resolve of the people. Simon Ekpa believed that achieving Biafra was possible if the people stayed united and unwavering. He compared this struggle to a long, dark tunnel. The people have walked through this tunnel for so long, but now they are beginning to see the light at the end. It is still faint, but it is there. And he encouraged them to keep going, not to be swayed by fear or by the opinions of those who don't understand their struggle. Simon Ekpa didn't just speak to those within Nigeria. He called on Biafrans all over the world, especially those in Europe, to contribute to the cause. For Simon Ekpa, it was simple. If you believe in Biafra, you should support it not just with words, but with action. He pointed out that living abroad in freedom was a privilege, but it also carried responsibility. He reminded them of their roots, of their people still struggling back home. For those who might feel disconnected from the struggle, Simon Ekpa urged them to remember where they came from. He appealed to their sense of identity, their cultural pride. He encouraged them to send funds to support the defense force, to donate to the liberation movement, and to contribute in any way they could to ensure Biafra's future. For Simon Ekpa, every little bit mattered, whether it was moral support or financial support. Simon Ekpa painted a picture of a future Biafra, calling it the land of the rising sun. This imagery was powerful, meant to inspire. He envisioned a nation where Biafrans could control their own resources, from their fertile lands to their waters stretching to the Gulf of Guinea. It was a vision of independence and self-determination, where Biafra's prosperity will benefit not only the current generation, but generations to come. The rising sun is a key symbol in Biafran identity. Simon Ekpa used it to remind Biafrans that their nation is meant to be a beacon, a place of hope and pride. He spoke of the Biafran flag, carried by brave hands over fields that had once seen bloodshed, as a sign of resilience and courage. One of the most striking parts of Simon Ekpa's message was his insistence on an unforgiving stance against those who, in his view, betrayed Biafra. He spoke of no forgiveness for crimes against Biafra, particularly against those who have endangered Biafran lives or undermined the people's struggle. He drew from an ancient Biafran concept of justice. In his mind, those who had wronged Biafra would face justice, and there would be no hiding from their sins. To many listening, this was a reminder of the price Biafrans had already paid. Simon Ekpa wanted to make it clear that anyone who stood in the way of Biafra's freedom would have to answer for their actions. Simon Ekpa emphasized that the current generation had inherited this struggle, and he hoped that it will end with them. He didn't want to pass on the fight to the next generation. He wanted a new Biafra to emerge, one that could stand strong and proud. Simon Ekpa believes this was a duty owed not only to the current generation but to the future children of Biafra. He hoped that one day Biafran children wouldn't have to know the struggles their parents and grandparents endured. Instead, he wanted them to grow up in a free Biafra where they could live, learn, and thrive without fear or persecution. In his closing remarks, Simon Ekpa's message became even more urgent. He issued a final call to Biafrans in Germany, Europe, and all over the world. He repeated his words, naming different groups and individuals within the Biafran diaspora, urging them to support the cause however they could. His message was clear. Biafra could not be achieved through force alone. It needed unity, support, and commitment. For Simon Ekpa, Biafra wasn't just a place, it was an ideal, a symbol of freedom that could not be distinguished. The sheer force of the Nigerian state would not erase Biafra's spirit. He closed by saying that Biafra was the land of the rising sun and its time was coming. I'll play the video for you guys to watch and see for yourself.
My fellow Biafrans, my message today is going to be very different. I am not here to give update. Every update we have is in the public. And I believe that if you are here watching this program, you may have been following the Biafra Liberation live and direct. My fellow Biafrans, as we approach the declaration which is to take place during our convention in Finland on the 2nd of December 2024, there are things that we must do. As we continue to protect our land, as the Biafra Defense Force increase the defense of our land, the defense of our women and our children, it is the most important thing for this government to protect the right, the properties, and of course, the life of our children in Biafra land. For us to achieve this and make our place a better place for all of us, we must bear in mind that our blow to Nigeria state and to Nigeria terrorist state must continue to be deep. I mean, our liberation going forward as we approach November, December, must continue to be deep blow on the Nigeria terrorist state until our declaration and beyond. Nigeria has dealt with us for many years. We have seen ethnic cleansing of our people. We have seen attempted annihilation of Biafra people, including changing in demography, distorting our map without any consent from the indigenous people of Biafra. Because we have entered almost the final stage of the liberation of Biafra. The world is talking about the Biafra today. We have been able to put the information, the issue of Biafra in the world global stage. We must make sure that our wrath against terrorist state of Nigeria remain invisible. Our wrath remain invisible. We will continue to deal with Nigeria, and Nigeria will not know what is dealing to them. And that is the invisible of the wrath of Biafra people. We must not have mercy on Nigeria terrorist state. I am telling you, the dimension that we are entering from now is that every personnel of the Biafra Defense Force must understand that going forward, we must not have mercy on Nigeria terrorist state, nor on the enemies in our land. No mercy. As we continue to defend our land against terrorist state of Nigeria and their foot soldiers, our happiness must always be at the tip of our sword, at the tip of our mara, at the tip of our guns. That's where our happiness should lie. As we continue to defend our land against Nigeria terrorism, our heart will always know no pity. This message today is directly to any person that is involved in our security in the homeland. There will be no pity against anything in Nigeria within Biafra land. Our heart must know no pity. I want you to understand that our cry of war will be given for our country, Biafra, which is now finally cutting the Nigeria and British chain of slavery, decade of slavery. Our defiance will not be passed until the Biafra people and the Biafra nation are free. My fellow Biafrans, when the rest of the indigenous people in Nigeria or other ethnic group, as you may call them, and the land, they continue to hang their head as they bow to the terrorism of the Nigeria state. We, the brave, from the land of brave, called Biafra. We, the lions and lioness of the emerging state and the United States of Biafra, believed in our chests. We have denied 1,000 pains since the amalgamation of Nigeria. But only one proud, holy thought, which is that as we approach the 2nd of December declaration of the restoration of independent state of Biafra, Biafrans, we must rise against Nigeria terrorist state. We must rise against Nigeria terrorism, against our people and our land. We must rise against the massacre of our people by the Nigeria state in Biafra land, like the revenge of the Kullervo But many people do not understand the Kullervo concept. Kullervo dagger and melee deals high damage, very high damage size. The Kullervo size the power of treachery to slake his thirst for revenge. In Kullervo, even the kingdom cannot shelter you from your sin. If you die 10,000 deaths, and your crimes will still pursue you. That is exactly what Kullervo does. We have opened that chapter in the Biafra liberation. Your crime can never be forgiven. Especially betraying our people, betraying our freedom, and costing the life of hundreds and thousands of Biafrans, including the opportunity to excel in life and live a better life than every other person in Africa. This generation of Biafra fighters, of which you and I are opportune to be part of, we inherited this war that we are now fighting today, defending ourselves. We shall fight and finish it. We shall pass not the war unto our children, but sweetly those destinies of this war. And a new table will be born of Biafra, which will grow, charge, and triumph. Therefore, Biafra people in Germany, I call on you, Igbos, I call on you, Efik, I call on you, Ibibios, I call on you, Ogoni, and the Jaws in Germany and beyond. There is only one Biafra, and its ideal cannot be removed by sheer of force, or by sheer of gun, or by shears of barrels of the gun and bullet of the Nigeria terrorist state. Biafra remain Biafra. It remain our nation. And we must not allow the share of the Nigeria forces to force us away from our own freedom and the land of the rising sun. I repeat, I call on you, Igbos, Efik, Ibibio, Ogoni, and in just in Germany and beyond. There is only one Biafra, and its ideal cannot be removed by sheer force away from under the old Eastern region sky. Its sun is rising very fast, and the dragon flag of the Biafra Defense Force is carried by the strong hand of the Biafra Liberation Army and the Biafra Defense Forces over the roars of the bloody battlefield in the eastern part of Nigeria, Biafra land. From the southeast to the rising shore of the Bight of Biafra, today the Biafra Bakassi Peninsula up to the Gulf of Guinea. We shall control our territory and our waterways. For us to do this, you must know that resources, finance, physical commitment, and otherwise is needed for us to achieve this goal that will benefit our generation and unborn generation of Biafra people. Biafrans in Germany, if you know what freedom is all about, this time you come forward and support the liberation of Biafra with whatever you have. We will make sure that our bullet will never run out of bullet. The Biafra Defense Force will never run out of bullet. It is the responsibility of you and I to make sure we do not just come to Europe to enjoy the freedom that they fought many years ago and allow our people to perish. The time for propaganda is over. Time for castigation is over. It's time we make sure that our bullets are always full in their cans. Nothing is too small. The sacrifices we have made is paying off. And today, the world is talking about Biafra. It is time we make this particular fire to burn even more and bigger than ever. Airborne to the Biafra Defense Forces.
This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.